You can do time picture. Are you doing
All right,
video?
so I'm Joe, and this is Eric, and we just got through watching Ghost in the Shell, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And as far as we know, it opened today. This was the first showing, and gotta say they did an excellent job. They were true um, um, to the subject matter, true to the art form. There were a lot of scenes where they were trying to recapture classic anime things, and I thought that was an interesting observation you had about the guy who was processing data as he was walking down the street.
Yeah. Towards the beginning of the film, they're walking. Major is walking down the sidewalk, and it's right before the guy tries to sell her upgrades or whatever. But you see a guy in the background, and he has a bubble, literally a bubble, like a fish tank, round fish tank around his head, and a black visor over his head, or over his eyes. And there's data on the tank, and you can tell there's a screen where that black visor is. He's literally living in a bubble. He's like talking too, but he has a bubble around his entire head, data going on it, visor over his eyes with data on it, just literally in his bubble of a world.
I know, completely oblivious, and the thing is I don't sure they intended that, but if whether they did or not, as a great commentary on how humanity is lost in the technology and how
Yeah.
we actually separate ourselves, even when we're walking down the street, literally 18 inches from somebody, we're in a completely separate universe.
Right. I think they were doing. I think that was a a reference to where the directors think we're going. I think that they were literally trying to call us out as humanity, just a call out to like what's going to happen if we keep using technology this way. That was great.
And not to give any spoilers, but I mean that was kind of explored by the mentor figure for the ghost or the for Major, that this is the future, but it's not really. We're gonna give up a lot to get some of these things.
Yeah, exactly. The film was it's if you liked the original, you'll love the film. It was spot on. It was I don't think they could have done a better job. Like it was very satisfying to watch. Very satisfying to watch.
Visually, especially, if you're a fan of anime, the just and I don't know. There's probably a word for it. I don't know what it is, but the cinematography or the shots that anime gets, just sort of sometimes seemingly meaningless things like looking up between two buildings and seeing a flock of birds kind of go over, or some of the camera angles. They really tried hard to even make the anatomy of the actors to make it match the art form that's anime.
Yeah, they went above and beyond of making sure it wasn't like a Hollywood American style movie. They did do their best. Even the way sometimes when the way the characters walk or interact with each other, and the impact of the scenes, like where you look up between two buildings and see the birds flying over. In an American movie, it might not mean much to us, but in Japanese culture, like the symbolism of those things represents something. And from the start of the film to the end, they have tons and tons of scenes like that. And I think they were able to explain that emotional weight visually and auditory, like through the film, really well.
I felt like too if you're not a fan of anime, though, this isn't going to overpower you.
Yeah,
I think
right.
some of the storytelling and emotional cues are going to be things that are familiar to an American audience or to a more Western audience. Maybe it's sometimes you can get into some more of the obscure anime titles, and even though they're enjoyable and they're beautiful, sometimes you feel like you can't really understand the psychology behind them, or
Right.
you don't have the same perspective as the hero, and this is not gonna be off putting to
Right.
to an audience member who's not familiar with anime. They're gonna understand what they need to understand. They're gonna understand the story, and they're gonna enjoy it, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Even though it remained true to that art form and true to the story, it's still going to reach, I think, a broader audience.
Yeah, so even if we have friends that aren't into anime, I think we could take them and see this movie and they'd be totally fine with it. They wouldn't be off put by the movie at all. Like
No.
it's amazing. It's really good.
Well, I'm gonna have to give it a thumb up. How about you?
Yeah, thumb up. I'm gonna give it 2.
That's 3 total, and we'll see you next time.